Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see you all tonight. Welcome to our virtual workshop for this week. My name is Brian Cofrancesco. I'm the Leadership Development Coordinator and a member of the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, Connecticut. It's my honor to welcome you to tonight's session and to see so many of you who are here with us on Zoom, and welcome to all of you who are watching us live on Facebook this evening. This is the 28th session in our virtual workshop series, and it's nice to see so many faces who've been with us since the beginning in December. We hope you're all enjoying these sessions and that you'll continue to encourage others in your club to join us, particularly next week, which is our last session for the month of June, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. And we'll talk more about the topic later on tonight. If you or any of your members are not receiving emails from the district, you can contact our education committee at education@newenglandkiwanis.org, and we will take a look. And if you take a look in the chat, I will drop in our email address and a link to register for this month's workshops. All right. A reminder that all of our workshops have the potential to count as interclubs on your monthly secretary's report. So if your club has enough members attending this workshop or any of our workshops, you get to report an interclub with every individual club that is in attendance. So to help us determine the number of clubs that are here, we ask all attendees to please send a quick message in the chat out to everyone with your name and your club, right where you saw the flashing light. Introduce yourself so we know what clubs are in attendance. If your club is eligible for an interclub, you can do one of three things. You can either, one, write down the names of the clubs in attendance as you see them in the chat. Two, you can click the ... ellipses next to the chat and save it so you can review the club names after. Or you can visit our Google Drive of resources for a list of the clubs that are represented at each workshop. And a special shout out to our interclub liaison, David Griffin, who does an expert job at compiling our attendance each week. So before we start on tonight's workshop, we have a couple housekeeping points. Please keep yourself muted so we have an uninterrupted presentation this evening. We really appreciate that. You are welcome to keep your camera on. It's always nice to see everyone's faces, but it is not required if you prefer to keep it off. For optimal viewing, especially for this evening where we have some images and slides that are going to be shared, we recommend keeping your Zoom on speaker view. And you can do that by clicking the view button in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and making sure that you are on speaker rather than gallery. If you have any questions for tonight's presenters, please post them right in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook, you can leave a comment on our video stream and we will grab them to ask for our Q&A session at the end. Tonight's presentation will be about an hour, and you'll be able to find recordings of the workshop on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So with that, we are ready to get started. And I am very excited about tonight's workshop because this has been an idea in the making for almost 2 years. Our education committee has heard about so many creative and exciting club signature service projects from all across our district that focus on children's literacy and reading. And finally, we've been able to bring together Kiwanians to speak about a whole variety of them. So tonight's session, Literacy Focused Service Projects, will highlight a bunch of outstanding and really inspiring reading and literacy projects from all across New England and Bermuda that you can start in your own community. You'll be hearing from them in just a few moments, but I just want to acknowledge and recognize our speakers who will be presenting this evening. We have Ava Adams from Scarborough, Maine, who will be presenting about Laundromat Reading Corners. We have Robin Jorgensen from Malden, Massachusetts, presenting about their club's Bubbles and Books project. We have AJ Clooky from Presque, Maine, who will be speaking on their local authors project. We have Martha Colaresi and Kate Cofrancesco from Meriden, Connecticut, who will talk about Trick or Treat with Kiwanis, Little Free Libraries, and StoryWalk. We have Patricia Swan from Hamilton, Bermuda, who will be speaking about World Book Day and reading to seniors. And we have Pat Salvi and Tricia Storti from Sheffield, Massachusetts, talking about their club's dictionary project. Each of our presenters will be speaking for 4 to 5 minutes about a specific project or a few projects. And we will have time for question and answer at the end. So please, at any time during the presentation, as you have questions, drop them to me right in the chat and I'll put them aside for later on tonight. We really hope that this showcase of service projects will give you ideas and inspiration, and perhaps you'll even bring one of them to your own community. So to kick us off tonight, we have our district's Young Children Committee Chair, Ava Adams. And Ava is from the Kiwanis Club of Scarborough, Maine. And tonight she's going to be speaking to us about the Laundromat Reading Corners project. So please join me in welcoming Ava Adams as our first speaker.
I'm here to talk to you about reading corners in laundromats, but also in other venues. This project started about 3 or 4 years ago in laundromats, but I hope you will consider establishing a reading corner in other venues in addition to laundromats. Some possible venues are healthcare facilities, barbershops, hair salons, urgent care facilities, credit unions, pediatricians' offices, family court facilities, and of course, emergency room waiting rooms. The reading corner setup is relatively inexpensive. It's $200 or less and can have a huge impact for local families and young children. Once set up, you may find that your local library will supply your club with gently used books, or club members and friends can be asked to donate gently used books to replenish the supply of books. What better way to change a child's life to promote literacy and the love and joy of reading? If you're having trouble contacting the owner of either the laundromat or venue, I just want to mention that you can go to your town clerk's office to find the owner's name. So why establish a reading corner in laundromat or other venues? Almost 60% of children today entering kindergarten may not be prepared. They may not recognize letters, numbers, and colors. This number is increasing with the COVID pandemic and the closure of preschool facilities and childcare programs. Parents spend time with their young children during necessary chores at these venues. This time provides a wonderful opportunity for children and parents to spend quality time reading with appropriate books for young children to enjoy. And I might add that it would be totally appropriate to include books in languages appropriate to your community. The interaction of laundromats or other venues can promote not only basic literacy, but also early math and science concepts that build different parts of the brain and complementary skill sets. Creating simple but attractive reading corners can help make the best use of these ordinary parts of the day to build both parental bonds and children's skills. These reading corners are also attractive for venues because they set them apart from other competitors, offering a resource for customers, demonstrate their involvement in the community, and encourage children in productive activities. All you need for the simple reading corner, as you can see, is a book holder, which costs about $35 on Amazon, a rug on the floor, which the one you see is about 5 feet by 6.5 feet. That is also available on Amazon for about $55, and putting up some appropriate posters on the wall if you have the space. And if you don't have room for a rug, that's okay too. So then it's even less expensive. Books need to be replenished if children take the books home. It's okay if the books are not returned. Some children may not have books at home to read. Ownership to books is the first step to encourage the love and joy of reading. You can get inexpensive books in several ways. One of these would be through firstbook.org. You normally would have to register that you are giving books to disadvantaged children if you go with that website. Other websites are Reading Warehouse, Books A Million, or Scholastic Literacy. A month's supply of books can cost from $0 to about $50 or $60. Most books must not have religious, political, or controversial themes, should include math, science topics, and should feature diverse characters in terms of race, ethnicity, physical ability, etc. Sponsors can also get their books through donations from employers or civics groups, as well as purchase at thrift stores, libraries, etc. The venue owner and Kiwanians are responsible for any liability coverage or issues. And there's some good news in that the Kiwanis Foundation of New England has a grant program. You can find the grant application at grants@kfne.org, and we'll post it in the chat. A Kiwanis Club must fill out the grant application thoroughly. There are 9 questions that you can fill out and then submit the grant application to grants@kfne.org. The foundation, Kiwanis Foundation of New England, has already approved a certain amount of money for clubs to apply for this initial setup of the reading corners. You can apply for a maximum of $200, and you may only apply one time. So I encourage you to establish a reading corner in your community for a relatively inexpensive project, which can have great ramifications for the children. And I thank you for attending this workshop.
Yes, let's give a big round of applause to Ava for talking with us about this topic tonight. Thank you, Ava. And if you have questions for Ava, specifically about the laundromat reading corners, you can drop those in the chat and I'll grab them from there. I also posted a link to the Kiwanis Foundation of New England and the email address grants@kfne.org if you'd like more information about our KFNE grants program. Okay. I appreciate you all standing by. Some of you who've been with us for a while know that I usually have Elise Denorfia helping with technology, but she's at the International Convention. So I am flying solo. So thank you for your patience. Okay, next up, we have Robin Jorgensen, who is from the Kiwanis Club of Malden, Massachusetts, and she's here to tell us about their project Bubbles and Books. Let's give a warm welcome to Robin.
Hello. Okay. Hello, my name is Robin Jorgensen. No, I don't see me.
We can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
You're good.
My name is Robin Jorgensen. I'm the 2-time past president of Malden Kiwanis and the originator of our service project, Bubbles and Books, which worked out well enough that we made it an annual event. For my, is there a slide 2 or not? Okay, for my first presidency, 2015 to 16, I wanted a citywide event that didn't cost too much and focused on books. The bubble part came from a bubble magician I met in a park. We added a storyteller, free slush, and face painting. You can see the different activities on the slide. I don't see the slide, but perhaps it will end up there.
I just need 1 second. My slide presentation froze, so you can keep going. I'll have it up in just a minute.
Okay. The event has been highly popular with both our members and the community. Malden is a special place with great diversity, and it was wonderful to see all the different families. We have had about 600 to 700 people at each event, and we have given away thousands of used books, probably 10,000 over the course of 4 years. Our first event was on June 4th, 2016, and we had it annually until we had to cancel in 2020 due to COVID. Another advantage of this was we were able to make 2 new members co-chairs, and one was Dawn Fitzgerald, which I'm sure many of you know. We partnered with the Key Clubs, and they provided enthusiasm, muscle, because books, thousands of them are heavy, and a great deal of book sorting. Okay, there it is. Okay. There is no money at Bubbles and Books. We don't even have a donation jar. Okay, so all children are equal since everything is free. The finances of the event. We got the gently used books donated, especially through schools. We offered a pizza party to the class that donated the most books, and we got a lot of books. We also had collection boxes at a few businesses. The Bubble Magician donated his service. The storyteller, we got a Mass Cultural Council grant. The face painting was the Key Club members, and the slush and the publicity was paid for by fundraising. The total cost was about $1,500 the first year to about $2,000 by 2019. We had it at a public park near public housing to encourage low-income participation, and the cost of the park rental was only $25. For funding, we asked for sponsors from local Chamber of Commerce, and we recognized them on a publicity flyers and on a billboard at the event. To publicize it, we used social media, our own Facebook, the school's Facebook, the city's social media, newspapers, posters at school and around town, and most importantly, and what worked best was flyers at the schools and the local Head Start. A lot of the money went to the slush and the flyers. We all wore Kiwanis and Key Club t-shirts, and we provided Kiwanis bags to carry the books. You can see the blue Kiwanis bags there if you look. It was heartening to see the families shop for books. Many of them took a lot. That's why we needed those fairly big bags. And we once had 2 grandmothers who carted off grocery carts full of books for their grandchildren. They were very excited. It was great publicity for Kiwanis and a great community event. And we held it at the end of the year so the kids would have books for summer reading. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Robin, and for telling us all about your Bubbles and Books project. If you have questions for Robin, you can drop those in the chat and we will make some time to ask them at the end. Next up, we have AJ Clooky from the Presque, Maine Kiwanis Club, and he's going to be talking about his club's project with a local author. So join me in a warm welcome for AJ.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks everyone for coming today. Like Brian said, I'm AJ Clooky. I'm the immediate past president of the Kiwanis Club of Presque, and I've also been lieutenant governor, I think, 4 times over the past few years. So very passionate about Kiwanis. So what we did is we actually partnered with a local author by the name of Tim Caverly, and he presented to approximately 100 local 8th graders in late 2019. And we had hoped to expand that to grades 3 through 7 in late 2020, but then COVID hit and everything was sent into turmoil. So we're hoping to continue that eventually. We are keeping in contact with Tim. His expertise is wildlife and nature. And if any of you have been in Northern Maine, it kind of fits perfectly into the Northern Maine lifestyle. He's worked in many local and state parks for many years, and he's very passionate about what he does, both being outdoors and also promoting literacy. He gave presentations and delivered books to 5 8th grade classrooms while he was here in Presque. And he also, in addition to just talking about writing in general, his presentation included what he calls 5 steps in the writing process. So he's not only promoting literacy, but he's also teaching people how to write and how to be creative and kind of take the creativity that they might not even know that they have and kind of pull that out of them. Students were very engaged and excited to meet a successful local author. And many of them still talk very highly about it, even now, a couple years after this happened. While in town, Tim was also a guest on WAGM TV Morning News, where my wife, Sean Cunningham, is the morning anchor. And he promoted not only his work, but he also promoted our club and the school system while he was on the news. So it was kind of a win-win as far as that goes. For the project, our club made a $1,000 donation, and we really see it as a win-win-win. It was a win for the author because he gets to promote his work, gets to promote teaching. It was a win for the school and students because they learn in a non-traditional way, so some way that they don't normally learn. And it was a win for our Kiwanis Club because we were supporting the community and getting positive press for our club at the same time. Tim and his wife also made other visits to local libraries and other schools around the same time that he presented to our 8th graders. So we see that as a win for the area as well. And he also visited our Kiwanis Club and spoke to our membership a few weeks after his school visit. And a couple of the teachers that he presented to actually came with him and spoke very highly about his teaching ability and how well the students reacted to his teaching. That's all I have, Brian.
Excellent. Thank you so much, AJ. Sounds like a really exciting project in Maine. Again, if you have questions, drop them in the chat and we will get to them at the end. If you're on Facebook and you're tuning in, you can leave them right on the live stream and I'll grab them as we wrap up the workshop. So next up, we have 2 speakers from my home club, the Kiwanis Club of Meriden, Connecticut. We have Martha Colaresi, who will be talking about our Trick or Treat with Kiwanis event and our Little Free Library project. And we have Kate Cofrancesco, my amazing wife, who will be telling you about our StoryWalk project. So please join me in a warm welcome for Martha and Kate.
Thank you, Brian. As you could see from the slide, Meriden loves literacy. It all began in September 2016 when the Kiwanis Club of Meriden inducted 3 literacy professionals, the executive director of the Meriden Public Library, an award-winning school librarian, and the ESOL, English for Speakers of Other Languages, program manager for the local Literacy Volunteers chapter. All 3 were recruited to join the Community Projects Committee, which is our club's service committee, and later the board of directors. The Kiwanis Club in Meriden was poised to actively promote family literacy in the community. We really wanted to join the Community Laundromat project, but after extensive research, we realized that none of the laundromats in the greater Meriden area lent themselves to this particular literacy endeavor. But Meriden has its own rich family literacy resources. We have the Meriden Public Library, among others, and the Community Book Bank at Literacy Volunteers. So at Kiwanis Club of Meriden, we initiated our own signature literacy projects. The first one being Trick or Treat with Kiwanis. This takes place in the Meriden Public Library, and it was the brainchild of the Community Projects Committee, spearheaded by the 3 literacy professionals. It provides the Kiwanis Club of Meriden with the perfect opportunity to promote family literacy, generate interest in the library, and bring local families together for a fun holiday-themed party. The Kiwanis name has already been featuring prominently in the Meriden Public Library since we founded the Kiwanis Computer Learning Center in 1987, and we have supported ongoing maintenance there ever since then. And as you can see, it is a very popular spot. The Trick or Treat with Kiwanis features Halloween-themed crafts like the little ghost cups you saw earlier, snacks, including party pizzas courtesy of Big Y, free books from Literacy Volunteers Community Book Bank, and entertainment by talented Kiwanians, Bruce Birchstead, who plays ukulele and leads rousing sing-alongs, and magician extraordinaire Dave Weisko. Key clubbers, Kiwanians, and their friends are on hand to shepherd the kids and enjoy a little Halloween fun themselves. That happens to be one of our past presidents, Cindy D'Agostino, very out of character as Cruella DeVille, presiding over the book giveaway table. Now that is not Cindy. We love Cindy. She's not Cruella. In its 3 years of existence, 2017, 18, and 19, the party area has always been standing room only, and the amount of standing room has decreased every year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do the indoor party in 2020, but we're looking forward to Trick or Treat with Kiwanis in the library again in the fall. And here's another one of our literacy projects. You've seen these small standalone strategically placed outdoor bookcases that exist for the purpose of encouraging neighborhood book exchange and family literacy. The first Little Free Library was created in 2009 in Wisconsin by a gentleman who wanted to honor his mom, who was a school teacher and avid reader. He filled this little model of a little red schoolhouse with books, put it in his front yard, and people loved it. The idea took off. By 2020, there were more than 100,000 Little Free Libraries registered in more than 100 countries. And by 2021, 23 of them had been set up in Meriden. Now I'd like to introduce this lady. Her name is Joanne Grobinski. She's a well-known Meriden community organizer, book lover, friend of Kiwanis. She's the hostess with the mostest at our favorite meeting venue. Greater Meriden already had 2 Little Free Libraries, one set up by a Girl Scout troop and another one by the Lions Club, Leo Clubbers. Now Joanne set up the first Little Free Library in South Meriden in 2018, and she went on to start the Meriden Little Free Libraries project. She obtained a substantial grant from the Meriden-based James H. Napier Foundation and assembled a collaborative of local agencies, including a local art gallery, Meriden Parks and Rec, Meriden Housing Authority, the local technical school, Meriden Public Library, Friends of the Library, a number of small but generous nonprofits, and Kiwanis. Coincidentally, when Joanne was putting her project together, our community projects team had already started researching and allocating funds for our own little free library. And when Joanne heard us talking about the little free library plans during one of the luncheons that she hostesses, she approached us with an invitation to share in her effort, and we were delighted to accept her invitation. Now here is Kiwanis's own little free library. Each one has its own sponsor, and Kiwanis has fully funded and maintains the one located at the beautiful Meriden Linear Trail near the Quinnipiac River Watershed Association. Our book donors include Friends of the Library and the Literacy Volunteers Community Book Bank. Now, Joanne tells me of all the 23 libraries in Meriden, ours is one of the more popular ones, and there's no surprise there. People can take a nice, heart-healthy walk on the trail, enjoy some fresh air and beautiful scenery, and then take a book or two home. Doesn't get any better than that. The Meriden Little Free Library's mission is to promote the sharing and reading of books for all ages and increase the sense of community in Meriden and beyond. The Kiwanis Club of Meriden is proud and pleased to play a part in carrying out that mission. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I want to talk about our signature project, StoryWalk. So the StoryWalk project was created by Anne Ferguson of Montpelier, Vermont, right here in New England, and developed in collaboration with the Kellogg Hubbard Library. StoryWalk is a project where you place pages of a children's book along a walking route for families to enjoy together. It's estimated that StoryWalks have been installed in 50 states and 13 countries, including Bermuda. There are different types of StoryWalks. So some groups create StoryWalks by purchasing multiple copies of a book, limiting the pages and affixing them to stakes in the ground, as you can see on the photo on the left. Other groups have permanent installations, as you can see in the photo in the middle. And our club decided to have kind of like a hybrid model. So we worked with the publisher of the book to gain copyright permission to reproduce the book on a large corrugated plastic board, kind of like those election campaign signs, so that they're weatherproof and sturdy, with the translation of the story in English and in Spanish. The boards have grommets that we use to hang on the fences in the city that can be affixed with zip ties and easily removed when it's time to move the story to its next location. So the picture on the right is of our club member, our secretary, Melissa Neville Passarelli, hanging the StoryWalk at one of our local camps in town. Our StoryWalks have a lot of support from the club. Members help brainstorm ideas for the next story, work with the publisher and local printing companies, and many members help install and relocate the StoryWalks, and some members lead readings during community events. And you can see in this picture that even during COVID, we were able to work outside. It's a socially distanced project because it's along a walking route, so we were still able to hang a StoryWalk even during the pandemic. We partnered with different organizations throughout our StoryWalk projects. When thinking about our second annual StoryWalk, one of our Kiwanians suggested reaching out to the Stu Leonard III Water Safety Foundation, which is a nonprofit located in Norwalk, Connecticut, affiliated with the Stu Leonard grocery stores in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, to see if they would grant permission to publish their book, Stewie the Duck Learns to Swim, which is all about water safety. The foundation was excited to partner with us on the project and supported some of the expenses. They loaned us our Stewie the Duck costumes. You can see Stewie is in costume at various locations in the city, and they allowed us to purchase copies of the book at cost to give away. And not only did we have the StoryWalk up and give out books, but our musician Kiwanian Bruce Birchstead, who Martha mentioned earlier, taught children the water safety song that is in the book as they walked through and read the story. And parliamentarian Dave Weiskell, he's in the middle picture. He also led readings at one of our local camps. With our StoryWalks, there's a lot of family and community involvement. We publicize our StoryWalks on our Facebook and Instagram pages and through the school system to tell families where our StoryWalks are. And we've had giveaways for books if families tag us in their photos. It's been great to see so many families reading our 3 stories. On the left is a group of local children who walked through and read our StoryWalk, Stewie the Duck Learns to Swim. In the middle is a class of distance learning students this past spring who got together outside to read the book called Jack by Meriden-born children's author Tommy DePaula. And on the right is Meriden Kiwanis, who brought her grandson to read That's Not a Daffodil, which was our first ever story walk as part of our Daffodil Festival. So if you're interested, planning a story walk is work, but it's definitely well worth it. So to make the story walk so successful, we number each panel, which you can see on the left, so that the walking path is very clear to families. We also include a panel that explains what a story walk is and the information about Kiwanis Club of Meriden for someone who maybe hasn't heard about us before or hasn't heard about a story walk before. We use a local printer who charges roughly $20 a panel for that corrugated plastic board to have each page printed. So if you decide to plan a story walk, it's important to gain permission from your local Parks and Recreation Department or school or wherever you'll be hanging the story walk. It's also important to get permission from the publisher to reproduce the story, because if you are cutting the pages and you have multiple copies, you don't need permission. However, if you are reprinting like we did, you have to get permission from the publisher to do such a thing. But Karen, who's on the first slide, was wonderful and had really great success reaching out to the publishers so far. So if you're interested in learning more about story walks, Little Free Libraries, or Trick or Treat with Kiwanis, or have questions for us, you can ask them in the chat now, or if you want to reach out to us later, you can email meridenkiwanis@gmail.com.
Excellent. A big thank you to Martha and to Kate for presenting about those projects. And if you have any questions for them, drop them in the chat. We have had a few come in for our previous speakers, so we look forward to seeing some more for you. So we are really pleased that tonight we have some really great broad geographic representation of clubs and literacy projects from all across our district, including Bermuda. And we are really pleased to have Patricia Swan presenting tonight. She's from the Kiwanis Club of Hamilton, Bermuda, and she's going to be talking about World Book Day and the Reading to Seniors project on the island of Bermuda. So join me in a big welcome, tuning in from Hamilton, Patricia Swan.
Good evening, everyone. As you may be able to see behind me, I brought my own friends with me. I have Big Bird and Ernie there in the background. So let's have some fun. The Kiwanis Club of Hamilton and St. George's are involved with World Book Day, which is recognized every year on 7th of March around the world. This year marked the 11th year in Bermuda. We partner with radio personality Nikita Robinson, and you'll see a poster as well featuring distinguished past Lieutenant Governor Gary and his family sitting amongst the children. That will come up momentarily. In Hamilton, the president and lieutenant governor usually visit a nursery and preschool. We donate books to the various schools and read to the children. This usually takes 10 minutes and photographs are taken. Past Lieutenant Governor Raymond Tannick and Lieutenant Governor Lily Bailey represent the Hamilton Club at Little Blessings Nursery and Preschool. However, this year, they were unable to visit the nursery and preschool due to the pandemic. And if any of you know Raymond Tannick, you know it was an animated storytelling going on in that preschool. In St. George's, the East End Primary School celebrated the World Book Day by reading throughout the school. St. George's Preparatory School also celebrates World Book Day. And we'll have the next slide. Reading to seniors. The Kiwanis Club of St. George's reading program was coordinated by retired school teacher, Kiwanian Rose Douglas. This program involved the kids from the St. George's Preparatory School who would read to the seniors at the Sylvia Richardson Rest Home. The club also donated books to both the East End Primary School and the St. George's Preparatory School. A note when reading to seniors, another way to interact with seniors through reading is to show them books that they may have read to their children. Like as you will see on the slide, Davy Dear's New Red Scarf and Little Red Wagon. I can remember my mother reading those two books to me. And also I had read those books to my now adult children. These types of books are factual, fanciful, humorous, questioning, and adventurous. Overall, Kiwanians in Bermuda continue to do our part to recognize literacy through the Kiwanis International Mission of serving the children of the world. I might add that over the years, the Kiwanis clubs in Bermuda have also received books from our fellow New England Kiwanians to enhance our reading programs, for which we are most appreciative. One of the methods that I have found to be most effective is to be illustrative when reading to the children. Have them act out with you with what you are reading about and what is taking place in the story. Keep reading exciting. Children can communicate effectively and develop early skills such as the sounds of language, the relationship between letters and sounds, which builds on their overall comprehension, writing, and communications. Have the children express themselves by writing and illustrating about the story that was read. I have a story here. During the COVID-19 pandemic, and we were in lockdown here in Bermuda, I shared the Swan's coveted Star Wars treasury of books to two little boys next door, one of them being a fully decked out Darth Vader. Needless to say, their parents had to read the books and play dress up repeatedly for over 4 months. I thought I was helping. So my fellow Kiwanians, thanks for listening, and keep reading exciting and fun for our children and seniors. As my friend Cookie Monster would say, me love cookies, me love reading, yum, 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 yum. Thank you.
Well, Patricia, I hope that we're going to get a story time from you at the district convention in August, because I think if you bring your stuffed animals with you, we're going to have a great time. All right. Well, thank you so much to Patricia Swan. I hope you enjoyed hearing about some of the reading projects that are going on in Bermuda. If you have questions for her, you can drop those to us in the chat or on the Facebook live stream. And our final presenters this evening are Pat Salvi and Tricia Storti from the Kiwanis Club of Sheffield, Massachusetts. And they are here to talk about their participation in the Dictionary Project. So please welcome Pat and Tricia.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your interest in this program. I'd like to just, the first slide, of course, is just the Dictionary Project's logo, Learn to Read and Read to Learn. The mission statement of the Dictionary Project is to assist all students in becoming good writers, active readers, creative thinkers, and resourceful learners by providing them with their own personal dictionary. The dictionaries are a gift to each student to use at school and at home for years to come. Educators see third grade as the dividing line between learning to read and reading to learn. So we encourage our sponsors to give dictionaries each year to children in third grade. And I'm kind of a statistic nut. So the next couple slides are just statistics. To date, through the dictionary project has almost 33,800,000 children have received a dictionary. I believe they started in the 1990s. I'm not exactly sure of the date.
I believe it was in 1992.
Thank you, Tricia. And to date, in this school year, 6,624 dictionaries have been donated to third graders in schools around the world. Our involvement, we've been participating in this program for over 10 years, and we give dictionaries in 3 elementary schools, in 2 school districts, 5 to 7 third grade classes in 9 towns. Sounds like a lot, but there's 83 children this year who received dictionaries. We're in a small area in southern Berkshire County in Massachusetts, and 2 school districts cover all of those 9 towns. And so there's 9 towns worth of third graders. Tricia?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tricia Storti. I actually just got involved with the dictionary project last year. My son came home one day. I have an 11-year-old. My son came home one day. He's like, look at the cool book you guys got us. I was like, yes, we did. So this year, actually, I took over the distribution process, which every year we give the Webster's 6th edition dictionary for students. I contacted the schools just to make sure, number one, at the beginning of the year, obviously, I don't know about your districts, but our districts these 2 school districts were fully remote for the first 2 weeks. And then both of them went to a hybrid schedule until April, but in and out of school. So it was an interesting year for all of us. I contacted all of the schools. They got me their class lists. We do personalize the dictionaries. As you can see on the right-hand side, that's the label that we put on the inside, and we put the first name of each student on there. We get the class lists, the numbers of dictionaries we need, order them from dictionaryproject.org. The books are $3 a piece. And then, as you can see, our distribution geographically, it looks like a lot, but like Pat said, we're a very rural part of Massachusetts. So there's a lot of towns with a few people in them. So the Southern Berkshire School District has 2 elementary schools. They're probably about 20 minutes apart. New Marlborough Central has 1 third grade class. This year, Under Mountain Elementary in Sheffield had 2 third grade classes. Normally, Berkshire Hills and Great Barrington has 3 classes, but in order to keep everybody distanced, they actually had 4 classes this year, which is an extra 1 or 2 for them. So we get the dictionaries, we personalize them all, and then typically we go to the school and we have a presentation. I was a part of it last year, and everybody gathered in the foyer or auditorium, depending on which school we were at. And you get to, explain to them what the project is about and why they're getting these dictionaries. And we actually physically get to hand them to them. Unfortunately, both of our school districts obviously were closed to outside visitors. So we missed that part of it this year, sadly, but the kids did still get their dictionaries. So, that's the important part. And then, so this year, we weren't entirely sure if the schools were going to allow the program in or how we were going to do it. So this is my son's last year. My son just graduated from the Under Mountain Elementary in Southern Berkshire. And so I emailed the principal and I explained, what we were doing. And I said, do you guys still want these? And his response was, which I had never heard this word before, as a logophile, which apparently means a word nerd. He said he loves this tradition and he wanted to keep it alive. So it took us a little bit longer, and it was a bit of an untraditional route for us to get it to them, but we were able to get the dictionaries to the kids. As far as parents, I've spoken to a couple of parents, from this year's third grade class and then past ones, and one of them said it was a really nice surprise. They also, somebody expressed that they're always happy to see community involvement in the schools, which, most people are. And I will tell you that this past year, well, the end of fourth grade, it came in quite handy in my house because instead of, how do you spell, what does this word mean? My son pulled out his dictionary and I was like, I think you know where to find it. So we used it quite a bit during remote learning last year and this year. The teachers put them to good use in the classrooms as well. When the kids are in third grade, their third grade teacher, at least at Undermountain, does a collaboration project with their Spanish class. So they use that a lot for there. And then just to teach to, learn spelling and simple things like alphabetization and things like that. Pat has a great story about a child who got their dictionary.
Thank you. As soon as the children receive their new dictionary, they immediately start flipping through pages and usually stop on a page and find new words. Many go to the colorful maps in the back. At a distribution day a few years ago, a girl asked me to help her find the Mediterranean Sea so she could see where her family came from. When I showed it to her, she looked for a minute, put her finger on the map. Excitedly, she pointed to a country and said, "There it is. My family is from Lebanon." If for no other reason, for me, her joy is why we give dictionaries to children.
I had an instance as well where I was walking through, I'm involved in Cub Scouts and Little League as well. And last year I was at a game and one of the children said, "Hi, Miss Tricia, hi." And I, said hi. And he looked at his mom, he goes, Mom, that's Tricia. I know her from Scouts, but she's also the one that gave me that cool book that has my name in it. So it was kind of fun just to see that.
So thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Okay, I was just going to say there's probably tens or more of books that the Dictionary Project has available. They're different prices. This is the one that Brian showed was the one that we've been using for over 10 years. We get the updated version whenever it's available. It's not a costly project for a Kiwanis club to do. That book there is $3. They don't charge for shipping. There's no tax. So it's a well worthwhile project. And thank you all for coming, for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, Tricia and Pat. What a great presentation. Okay, so we finished our formal presentations and we're going to move into some question and answers. So I am going to start. We had several that came in the chat, and the first one is for Ava. So Ava, if you could get ready, this one is for you. It has a few different parts. Do clubs partner with K-Kids clubs on reading corners? That was the first one. And do you find that books often go home and therefore the supply needs to be, the area needs to be resupplied frequently?
Well, I don't believe anyone has partnered with K-Kids for it. I know there's a different program in schools where key clubbers will read to younger children. As far as taking the books, it's fine. They do have to be replenished. The other issue is that the Kiwanis Club is responsible at any of the venues to make sure it's being kept neat or whatever. So I think most places check in every 2 weeks or so. But once you start it and you find that, the books are being taken home, then you just replenish them. And we have a little free library and have the same issue. So it's not a big deal.
And Ava, do you find that there are ever any community members who joined Kiwanis as a result of the reading corners?
I think people know about it, but I'm not sure that that is happening, because don't forget, a lot of these are in laundromats and other venues where it's for lower income families. And I think that would be kind of difficult for them to join Kiwanis at our due structure right now. But it's a nice thought.
Excellent. Thank you, Ava. So our next question is for AJ. Someone asks, I'm sorry if I missed this, but can you talk about what the expense was to your club to have the author visit classrooms?
Sure. The expense to us was around $1,000, and us donating the $1,000 enabled him to apply for other grants, which covered the whole cost for him to visit the classrooms. I'm not sure what the overall cost was, but the cost to our club was $1,000.
Wonderful. Next question comes in and is for Robin. Robin, could another club do an event and use the title Bubbles and Books as well?
That would be wonderful. Everybody could do, it wouldn't have to be Bubbles and Books. You could do anything else that, would go along. It just something fun with the books to spotlight and make it an event. So I saw a bubble magician and he was willing to come for free, and it gets pretty exciting. The kids scream and yell, but certainly they could use our name and any other part of the idea, and I'd gladly help anyone with any of it.
Excellent. Okay, so the next one goes towards everybody. So I'll have everybody answer just in the order you appear on my screen. What is one tip you would offer to a club looking to bring your specific project to their own community? And so based on who I have, we're going to start with Tricia and Pat to talk about the dictionary project. One tip.
It's hard to give one tip. I think you just need to to go online to dictionaryproject.org. There's a wealth of information there. There are organizations from around the world, Kiwanis clubs, Rotary clubs, church groups around the world. They've been doing it, Tricia said, since 1992. I just find it really a kind of an amazing thing. They're not all well, they're all dictionaries, but they're various levels. The one we use has the atlas maps in the back, and there's all kinds of maps that the kids just really gravitate toward because they're colorful.
My suggestion would be have a good contact at the schools. I'm really lucky. Like I said, my son was in the elementary school, and I happen to know the other elementary's principal secretary. So if you have that one central contact for each school district, or depending on how big your school district is at one school, it makes things a lot easier. The communication and getting the names and just the distribution process as well.
Excellent. So one tip, and next we're going to go to Patricia Swan.
Hi, my own thoughts, and I would like for send out a challenge to the Bermuda joint reading project throughout our 9 parishes, is to partner with a couple of nurseries and preschools via Zoom or in person, and interactively read to the children on a bi-weekly or monthly basis. And then we'll be able to spread our Kiwanians cheer about.
Wonderful. And next up, Robin, one tip for clubs that would like to bring Bubbles and Books.
Have a good relationship with the schools. We had to get all sorts of permission. The superintendent was very supportive, but we needed permission to get donations of the books and send flyers home, all that stuff. And the pizza party, that's against rules. So I had to get special dispensation for that. But you really need a good relationship with the schools, and as high as the superintendent.
And next up, Kate and Martha from Meriden. Tips
I
on
would-
any of the projects you talked about?
I would say for story walks, think about a story that is fitting for your community. So our very first one was That's Not a Daffodil, because we have a festival called the Daffodil Festival. So we knew that that would fit in our park. Then we moved on to Stewie the Duck Learns to Swim, because we knew about this partnership, and we knew that water safety was a big important thing in our town. We were even able to get swim passes from the YMCA to give out. And then our third one is a local author. So with all three, we thought about what the kids in our community would be interested in and what their families would want to take them to.
I was also going to say, in addition to staying in touch with the schools, keep in touch with the area nonprofits that work with children and with the city, the school system. I'm looking at the senior center now. Some of those senior projects look good. And just get out there on Facebook, get out there on the social media, and word gets out.
Excellent, thank you. And AJ, how about you? One tip if a club wants to do a similar project.
I would just say be creative and think outside the box, and try to find an author, or even if it's not an author, it could be an artist, could be an illustrator, it could be someone else that kind of works on books or literacy in some respect. There are local authors in just about every area, in every state, in every country. So just be creative.
And Ava, do you have a tip for a club that would like to do a laundromat reading corner project in their community?
Yes, if it's a first time for you to build a reading corner, I strongly encourage you to apply for a grant from the Kiwanis Foundation of New England. The money's there, and the last year and a half has been very difficult on fundraising for clubs. So you can start this, and I assure you that if you complete the application, the money's available.
Excellent, thank you. We have just a couple more questions I'm going to try to get through as we come up, as we start wrapping up tonight's workshop. This one goes to Patricia in Bermuda. Does your club donate books to the schools too? If so, how much do you tend to spend each year on book donations?
Yes, we do donate the books, and I'm not privy to the amount, the costing of it. I know we just buy the books, and we donate them to the schools as well, and also to Teen Haven. That's the Hamilton signature project, and it's a home for young mothers and their children.
Excellent, thank you, Patricia. We have a question that came in for Martha and Kate about the Little Free Library project. What kind of financial commitment is it per year? If yours is the most popular, I imagine it must need to be resupplied pretty often.
Well, the books are all free. It was the initial cost for the materials for the little library itself. And there was a grant program from the Meriden Little Free Libraries project. Unfortunately, I don't know the amount off the top of my head, but
I think so. We paid for, there's a plaque on ours to register it. And I think I also do one with work. I think it's roughly $40 to register yours on the Little Free Library map that is worldwide. Plus, like Martha said, the materials. But the books, Martha works at Literacy Volunteers, so we're really lucky that she can get us a lot of different donated books that we need throughout the year for our projects.
but we do have a community book bank that we run. It's our one children's initiative because we're an adult agency, but we get the books for free. We give them out for free. And also the Friends of the Meriden Library organization gives free books as well. And then people out in the community also donate books. If they want to take a book, give a book, they can do that. If they just want to take the books, that's fine too. But the books go in, the books go out.
Excellent, thank you. This question came in for Pat and for Tricia. I love that dictionaries are still wanted and needed in the internet and online world. Does the Dictionary Project organization also do dictionaries for older students or just third graders?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I know that they target third graders just because of the age group, but I don't think that they would turn away if I know we do have one other school in our area. It's a Montessori school, so they follow a different educational track than traditional public schools do. So they don't typically get to, dictionary type learning until 4th grade. So we had offered it to them, and it never ended up working out with them. But I don't think that the dictionary project would turn anybody away if they wanted to give them to older kids.
Thank you. And our last question for the evening. Where did I paste it? Here we go. And this question is to Ava. A lot of questions about the reading corners. This is great. When can you apply for grants from KF&E, and how much can you request for this particular reading corner project?
You can apply anytime with the encouragement of email. I'm on the grant committee, and we pretty much process them as, once we get them very quickly. You can apply up to $200, a one-time deal for each club. And the application is at grants@kfne.org. There are 9 questions that you must fill out for us to go through your application. So just don't put reading corner here and that's it. You'll have to answer all 9 questions, but I really encourage you to do it. There are now about 10 or 12 reading corners throughout New England, but we sure could use more.
Excellent. Well, that concludes all of our questions for tonight. I hope you'll join me in a big round of applause for all of our excellent presenters who were sharing such inspiring literacy projects from across our district. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. So as we wrap up, please remember, if you haven't already, to type your name and your club in the chat. This helps us keep accurate attendance each week. I do want to share, in addition to Bermuda, we have several international clubs who are with us tonight, which I always love to see. I saw that we have folks from the Pride of Barbados Kiwanis Club who've joined us for a few sessions. So welcome to our friends from Barbados. And watching on Facebook tonight is someone from a Kiwanis club in the Philippines. So thank you for watching and for dropping us a message. It's great to have you with us, with our Kiwanians in New England and Bermuda. I also found out tonight we have Fred Otto with us from the Orono Old Town Kiwanis Club in Maine, who is celebrating his 64th wedding anniversary tonight and is still joining with us. So I hope that's okay with your spouse, but he's been a faithful attendee since we started this workshop series in December. So let's give a nice round of applause to Fred. Another reminder for why to drop your club name in the chat if you haven't. Our interclub liaison, Dave Griffin, has sent me a message that we have 12 clubs here tonight. So if you have enough members to count this as an interclub, you can report 12 clubs on your secretary's report. So we have one more workshop lined up for this month, and that will be next week, our June session. Oops. Okay, oh, 1 second. I think I have to reshare that. Okay, here we go. So our final June workshop is going to be next Wednesday on the 30th, how to build diverse community partnerships. Now you're really going to be in for a treat if you're able to join us next week, because this is going to be presented by 2 Connecticut Key Club members. So 2 high schoolers, Harper Treshik and Jordan Stein from the Fairfield Ludlow High School Key Club in Fairfield, who are going to talk about how members of their club worked with community organizations and shared service projects to help feed their community. They're going to provide resources, action steps, and a lot of inspiration to jumpstart your own community partnerships. So that is next Wednesday, June 30th, our 29th weekly workshop. Now, following these June workshops, we are going to transition to officer training on Wednesday evenings. So if you are an incoming club officer, please join us for your respective club leadership education session. And we are holding them virtually so we can hopefully reach as many incoming officers across the district as possible. They are free sessions. They are from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Atlantic for our friends in Bermuda. And there is a session on July 7th for club treasurers and directors, a session on July 14th for club presidents, presidents-elect, and vice presidents. And then we wrap up our training on July 21st with club secretaries. So I've just dropped a link in the chat if you are an officer or an aspiring officer who would like to learn more. I hope you will join us. If you go to tiny.cc/nebdk-cle or go to newenglandkiwanis.org, you can find all the information. This year's workshops are going to be discussion-based, and we are asking attendees to do a couple pre-session assignments and to submit your questions in advance so that your trainers can learn more about what you're looking to find out during your training. So once we finish our virtual club leadership education, your next opportunity for Kiwanis education will be at the district convention, which will be in person this summer, August 19th to the 22nd in Leominster, Massachusetts. Then beginning in September, our virtual workshop series will move to once per month. So we do want to continue meeting with you regularly and sharing a lot of great Kiwanis information. But as we move into a safer time after the pandemic, we're going to do that once a month. So we hope you'll continue to join us as we move into the later summer and fall. You'll always be able to find the latest information at newenglandkiwanis.org. Now, if you or any of your fellow members have missed any of our education sessions, you can find links to recordings on our Facebook page, in our Facebook group, at newenglandkiwanis.org, and on our YouTube channel. And that's where you can go to watch recordings of any of the sessions that we've held in the last 6 months. And I will drop those links in the chat for anyone who may be interested in watching some of those recordings. They're great 1-hour segments that you can put on at any time, so please encourage your members to do that. We also have a Google Drive of resources where you can download any of the resources that our presenters have shared. So if you take a look at the last link in my message or go to the confirmation email you received this morning, you can find presenter PowerPoints, links to files, links to other resources that you can access for free. I would like to extend a big thank you to our district education committee members who are the ones working behind the scenes to make these workshops possible. Elise Denorfia, Judy Barrett, and David Griffin. Please join me in a round of applause for all of them. 28 weeks is a lot to pull all together, but they've been doing a lot to make each portion of this endeavor come together. So thank you so much. With that, a special thanks to each of you for joining us and participating this week, as well as to all of our presenters and their excellent projects that their clubs are doing to really make a difference. And I hope you're going to leave tonight with a new idea or inspiration to do a new project in your community focused on children's literacy. So be safe and be well, and we hope that we will see you next week for our session on how to build diverse community partnerships. Have a great night, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.